Hi there, welcome to Transcona Trailer Sales. Today I'm going to be walking you through your 2025 Intech Ovr. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit. You are pre-wired for an observation camera. Up top, if you notice that, you can contact our purchase department. They can put together a quote for you for getting set up with that. Also located at the back, you have this nice storage compartment, nice little spot for some extra storage. Right down below, you do got that 2-inch receiver. Just taking a look at the sticker, it is 175-pound weight capacity. Just keep it in mind, it's really only good for a bike rack. Don't want to put anything too heavy on there. Coming around the side of the unit, you notice you got stabilizer jacks. You got one on each corner of the trailer. The two in the front are facing the front, and then you got the two at the back. 3/4-inch drive tool. We do include a manual tool located inside the front compartment. I'll go over that once we get there. Just hooks up to this drive nut. Run this foot down to the ground. Once the foot contacts the ground, just give it another 1/8 turn to snug it up. It's going to take any bounce or sway you see we have in the unit right now away. Special note for that, they are leveling jacks. They aren't leveling jacks. They are stabilizing jacks. If you try to use them as leveling jacks, you do run the risk of bending them, so keep that in mind. And the same does go for if you have a cordless impact that you want to run them up and down with. You can do so. Just keep in mind how much torque you put on them, as they are pretty easy to bend. Inside this compartment here, this is going to be where you have your standard starter kit. Comes with a 10-foot sewer hose, 15-foot water hose, a 15-amp park adapter, which I'll go over in a minute, and some other miscellaneous goodies. In this one here, open this up, this guy. You can pull this right out. You're gonna notice you got this end, lines up with this end here if you were to have the water on. Pulling back on the collar, inserting this tool inside of there. You would then have sprayable water with this water hose. Just keep it in mind as soon as you do insert this, if this isn't closed all the way, it is going to start spraying everywhere. And to get it back in, you're just doing the complete opposite and just making sure you do run this inside of itself. That way you can close up that door nice and easy. You got your fresh tank drain, which is located right down here. Opening up that drain valve just allows all the water to empty out of the fresh tank, which we're currently emptying at the moment. Putting up this guy, this is the service port for your hot water heater. Whenever your hot water heater is running, it is going to be blowing out hot air, so be mindful of that. Got your power switch that does turn power on to the thermostat inside. And you got your pressure relief valve right down there at the bottom. I'm just going to go over a couple things because this is a new system. It's called a tankless water heater. If you've had a trailer before, you probably had a tanked water heater, in which case there's bypass valves behind it. This is the complete opposite. There isn't any bypass valves behind it, and if there are, you don't touch them. You do want to run antifreeze through this system. And once you're done with winterizing process completely, cracking this pressure relief valve and leaving it cracked open for the duration of winter. That way, once that antifreeze starts expanding during those cool months, in our cold Manitoba climates, the antifreeze has a place to go and it's not going to expand and crack the coils. Opening up this guy, you got your city water connection, so if you're at a site with service, thread a garden hose in there, turn it on, pressurizes all of the lines without the needing to run your water pump. But if you're out boondocking or your campsite doesn't have water, put a garden hose in there, turn it on. That's what fills your fresh tank. The drain is right down below. Furnace exhaust, whenever your furnace is running, that'll be blowing out hot air, so be mindful of that. Coax inlet. And then right down below, you got your standard 30-amp power connection. You're just taking note of that notch there. It lines up with this notch on this side. Lining these guys up, firm into place, 1/8 turn to lock it in, and then you got that thread collar to really lock it down. If you follow the cord back, you do your standard 30-amp plug-in. Now most campsites should have this and you can plug right on in. But let's say you have the unit at home and you want to run your fridge, or your campsite only has 15-amp service, which is your standard household outlet. We do include that 15-amp park adapter, which is inside that box there. Just keep it in mind whenever you're using it. It really is just to run your fridge and your lights. You're not going to be running an air conditioner off of that. Down below, you got your furnace exhaust. That's your sewer outlet. Twisting that cap off. This is going to be the same ears your sewer hose has. They line up with the notches like so. Twist and lock into place. Then you got your wastewater, which is your gray water. And then you got your sewage holding tank. You always want to empty the sewage first. This is going to be your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. Then you can come behind that with your wastewater, which is your gray water, typically filled from your sinks and your showers. 2 low point drains, so if you're leaving the unit for a while, don't want water going stale or stagnant, crack and open those guys. It tries to drain as much water or fluid inside the lines as possible. It's also good to crack them open after you're done winterizing. Let some of that antifreeze out. You do have a little sewer storage spot. That brand new one's located inside the box, which is why it's not in here yet. But this is typically where you're going to want to store it after your first use. That way it keeps all the smell out of the unit. And then inside this compartment here is where you'll find your 3/4 inch drive tool for your stabilizer jacks. Coming around the front of the unit, you got your spare tire located on the wall here. 2 lug nuts holding it on. Just got to pull the cover off. And then inside here, lifting and pulling. It's on gas struts, so it assists itself up. You got your 2 standard propane tanks, wing nut at the top to loosen off, so you can disconnect your bottles and pull your tanks out to get them refilled. Now with this arrow on this regulator selector valve, this arrow pointed this way, you're obviously drawing off this tank, and like any standard barbecue, counterclockwise to open it up all the way, nice and slowly. If this tank were to go dry, closing it off, switch the valve over to the other side, and you can start drawing off that tank. Power tongue jack right up front. Next, you do have your little exterior kitchenette area. Opening up that guy, locking that in place with the magnets. Hit this, pull it down, and slide this straight out of the way. Now, this customer did ask the salesman personally to let us know just to remove the griddle and remove the rivets for this guy to get this right out of place, because they had something else in mind for the storage tray. I have it loose. The only reason it's still on here is because there's not really anywhere else good to put it. So once you guys figure out what you want to do with it, it does just pull right off. It's nice and loose for you. To get it back into place, just making sure you hit your releaser and stick it back in place. Over here, get your griddle, which I have already removed for you. You got your pre-seasoned cast iron skillet plate in the box, dust cap, pulling that guy off. This does give you a quick connect propane access. You can get the lines from our parts department. I did also leave one for you inside this guy here, inside this side, in case that has the right hookup for your barbecue. But pulling the collar back like any standard airline will allow you to insert it into place. Once it's locked in, you can open up that flow of propane. As an added safety feature, you can't undo the coupler with the flow of propane open. You do have to close it. And whenever you're not using this guy, always making sure you have that dust cap clicked into place. That way you're not getting any debris inside there. Now for the best part, to get inside, taking your handle, pulling it, allow you to open up your doors. You do have adjustable campsite feet, adjustable stair feet for your campsite needs, so you can have nice and level stairs. Pulling them towards you, obviously pulling the safety latch first to allow them to fold down. Taking a step on inside, first thing you notice off on the right is that fire extinguisher, pretty much just like home, pull the pin and shoot. Then you got some lights here. You do have a porch light that goes on outside. And then you got some cabinet accent lighting as well as the main lights. Another accent light here for this one up here. Then up on the wall, a couple different things. You got your monitor panel system, so pushing it will give you the corresponding level. Battery, 12.3 is going to be fully charged. You got your stereo right down below, which is pretty much just like home, minus the fact of having your different zones. Zone A is the back set of speakers. Zone B is the front set of speakers. Then you got your water heater. So once you turn the switch on the panel outside, turn it on, up or down at any time to change the set temperature. You can go between Celsius and Fahrenheit with the press of a button. And then let's say 50 degrees Celsius isn't quite hot enough for you. That's just an added safety feature. So in case kids were to come in here, they can't scold their hands. If you push the up button and hold it for 5 seconds, it does unlock it. It'll let you go up another 5 degrees. It doesn't sound like much, but it definitely feels like it. And if you go below 50 again, it just automatically locks itself. Again, just a safety feature for kids. On the wall, you have a couple different max air vents throughout this unit. The front one, it's going to work the same way as this back one is going to work the same way as the front one. Push the power button on, automatically opens up the lid, turns on the fan. It is going to be on its slowest setting right off the bat. You got 4 more settings after that. You can manually open up the vent up or down by pressing this button in case you just wanted to open up the vent or the vent was too open. Fan button to turn it off and the lid will automatically close. But first, looking up with that on and up, you open up straight into the atmosphere. So if it were to start raining, it is going to get wet inside here. And if you were to travel with this open because you forgot it open, there's a chance of you damaging your vent lid. We do sell Max Air covers here at the shop. It's a cover that goes over top of this vent that will allow you to run that vent, whether it's raining or if you're traveling. It's a great little addition you can get set up with by contacting a parts department. Back to showing you, hit the off button, automatically kills the fan, starts closing the lid. It's going to close it fully. A little kitchenette area, pretty standard. Kitchen accent laid on the press of a button. All the blinds in the unit do work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. One quick pull will allow them to retract back up. Intech does give you a nice little label of where all your parts are. And that does bring you to your stove. Now, I'm just going to go over a couple things because this unit is equipped with propane. You got your LP detector right over here in your vent on the ground. This guy ever starts going off, just turn off your main supply of propane. Open up some windows and vents to get some fresh oxygen inside of it. And it is also very sensitive to cleaning chemicals. So if you would be cleaning around it and it starts going off, use your best judgment to try to see that. Now, when you've had the propane system off for a while, and especially if you disconnect the bottle from the unit, it allows air into the system. Once air gets into the system, it does have to be purged out. Now, the quickest, easiest way to do that is just by, if you've had the propane system off for a while or you had to change one of your tanks out, come to your stove first thing, fire up that first. The reason I'm telling you that, it's the quickest, easiest way to do it. If you go to fire up your water heater or your furnace, those only try lighting themselves a few times. And if they don't get any source of propane and don't light, they're going to throw a fault code. And if you don't know what the fault code means, it could throw a little wrench in your weekend and cause maybe a little bit of frustration. And we do try to avoid that. So that's why I do just recommend firing up your stove first thing. Helps you just eliminate possible problems. And of course, I've had the system running earlier, which is why it did fire up so quickly. Pretty standard though. Turning it back off, and before you ever close your cover, just making sure you do allow it time to cool down. And closing it, it's a little different. If you just try and pull it, you're going to see it's going to want to stop. Now that's just so it can't slam. You do actually have to pull it up and close it down. Just, it's glass. Being careful with it when you put it down. All the storage, tons of storage in the unit and tons of accent lighting. Whenever you're using it, just be mindful of drains and water lines. I'm going to show you a little something inside here. Pulling this back cushion, plopping it out of the way. You can then remove your bottom cushion. You're going to notice inside here you got this little false panel. If you pull that out of the way, it does give you access to your water heater for winterization. You got all those bypass hoses. A little spot for you if you do plan on doing the winterizing yourself. That's where you're going to find that access to that water pump. This is going to be the fire exit for the front living space as well. So to use it, it's pretty simple. You just essentially open up the window, pulling on it, slide. It'll then allow you to slide the screen out of the way and you can hop right out of the unit. Sometimes the screen does pop out of place a little bit, so you just got to pop it back into its tracks, which I will do after the video. Kitchen area, we kind of already went over that. You got your entertainment center, pretty standard. You got your TV. Behind the TV, it's going to be hard to see in the video. Pull the TV out of place here. This is on a travel lock, by the way, so I'll show you that after, but you got this little red light here. Turning this on and on does turn the antenna on the roof. Now that also improves radio frequency, cell phone frequency. So whenever you're camping, I do recommend turning it on if you're planning on using any of those. But once you're done camping, do remember to turn it off because it does draw battery power. And then whenever you're traveling, always double checking that your TV is clicked and locked into place. That way it's not going anywhere during travel. You got your fridge and freezer combo. Controls for both are right down here. Obviously, 6 is going to be the coldest setting. Anywhere before that is a warmer setting. And to get them open, you do have to make sure you pull on the latches. Microwave convection oven right down below, just like home. Not much I'm going to show you there. Popping open this door does give you access into the bathroom. The light switch is on the left on the wall. Again, another roof vent cover inside here as well with a fan. And if you open it up again, you're just going straight into the atmosphere, so the same rules apply. Hot and cold water, pretty standard little bathroom. They even go as far as to include a waterproof toilet paper holder. Sweet little feature, I thought, since it is a 2-in-1 system. Now in your back bedroom space, the light switch for back here, you got a couple different options. You got a light switch here and here to do your rear lights and your cabinet lights. There's also another switch for the bedroom lights down over here in case you're in bed and you wanted to turn them on or off. Great little feature. Storage all around underneath this bed. Also, before we get there, go over a couple things. You got on either side a little hanging rack system. Put hangers with clothes. Max air cover. I've already gone over the front one. Works the same way. And then you do get your thermostat. Pretty simple. Pushing the button once it illuminates itself. Pushing it again. Get into your mode. First, we'll go over the fan quick. Pushing it twice so you get into your fan operation. You got high to low. That is just moving air around with the air conditioner. No heating or cooling involved. Back over. Clicking that again. Going back into your mode setting. Turning it over to the cool. Hit enter. Now you're going to notice it says auto. Whenever it's an auto, it's an on-demand system. So if it's the room is 76, it's set to 68. Once it hits 68, it's going to automatically cut off the air conditioner and leave it off. Now, if you've had this fan setting on either high or low without the auto on there, this does run full time regardless. So just keep that in mind. That's why I typically recommend leaving it on auto. One more time, you can go over to your heat. Now that's going to kill your air conditioner and fire up your propane furnace. The furnace does move all its air to the ground. This air conditioner goes to the roof. Another sweet feature Coleman included. They got a cool plus heat option. So depending on what the room is set to, it's going to kick in either or. And of course, only if you're in auto. You do have to be in auto for that feature to work. Then you got a cool dry. That's just a dehumidifying mode to take as much moisture out of the air as possible. Whenever you kick the furnace on and then turn it off, it does run for an additional 3 minutes to allow itself to cool down. And I'm going to show you just under this bed quickly. Sliding the mattress out of the way. You're going to notice another fire exit, pretty standard. Pulling this cover out of the way, this is where you house your 2 batteries. They're lithium batteries. You're also getting access to your inverter, as well as your solar controller, a bunch of different fuses. Some people won't ever look under here. The reason I'm telling you is these lithium batteries cannot freeze. Always making sure you either have us remove them or a approved dealer or yourself if you know how. Just being careful with them. They are very expensive. You can ruin them. But that's where you're going to get access to that. And I will just stick this back into place quickly here. Opening up this cupboard gives you access to your main fuse and breaker panel. Whenever breaker trips, it's going to sit in the middle, so you just have to turn it off and then back on again. All the fuses on your left. Battery disconnect switch. With it in the on position, the batteries are connected. With it in the off position, the batteries will become disconnected. And as an added feature, if you ever come in here and nothing's working, if you have the batteries disconnected, it also disables the rest of the 12-volt system in here. So just keep that in mind. If you come in, you're not getting anything like lights or anything coming on. It could be that disconnect switch, just making sure it's in the on position. And in the corresponding cabinet, same spot right on the other side, flipping that open. That's where you're going to get access to your inverter on switch. I always recommend using this inverter on switch and not on the inverter itself, using this switch here. This is for your solar charging system. It's just letting you know what you're drawing, what you're charging, a bunch of different options you can get into as well for settings. I'm going to recommend going over the owner's manual for it. And then just for the inverter, you got a second fuse and breaker panel just for that. Again, if it trips, it's just going to sit in the middle, so you do just have to turn it off and then back on again to reset it. And that is going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.